AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her demanding guest list and treatment of my family. So this is going to be a long one, and honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the entire situation. I, 32F, have a younger sister, Emily, 29F. Growing up, we were close, but always had our differences. Emily is very social, charismatic, and has always been the golden child in the family. I'm more introverted and tend to keep to a smaller circle of friends. A few months ago, Emily got engaged to her boyfriend, Mark, who she's been with for about 3 years. We were all excited for her, especially my parents. When she started planning the wedding, things got a little complicated. Emily has always been quite particular and very demanding when it comes to how things should be done, which is totally her right, but the way she's been treating people around her has raised some eyebrows. The first issue came up when she started sending out the save the dates. My family is pretty close-knit, and usually weddings are a big family event where everyone is invited. Aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, etc. But Emily decided to drastically limit the guest list. She explained that she wanted a small, intimate wedding, which we all understood at first. However, the guest list turned out to be mostly her work friends, a handful of friends from her hobby groups, and just immediate family. But even then, she excluded some family members she claimed don't get along with Mark. This included our own cousins and even one of our grandparents, who she said she didn't want there because of old family drama. That was already upsetting to my parents, but they tried to respect her wishes. When it came to my own family, Emily invited our parents, my husband, and me. I was happy to be invited, but then the next problem came up: the seating arrangement and accommodations for the wedding weekend. Emily insisted that her friends get the premium hotel suites and that the family stay at a more basic place miles away. She told my parents and me that this was to keep things balanced and that Mark's friends needed to be prioritized because they're a big part of their lives. My parents were hurt, but didn't say much at the time. What really set me off was when Emily started demanding that I limit my husband's involvement in the wedding. She told me she didn't want him giving speeches, walking me down the aisle, my dad is divorced from my mom and not in the picture, or even being very visible during the ceremony because it's not about him. She said he was too loud and embarrassing, and that she wanted a traditional feel. I talked to my husband about it, and he was hurt, but told me to do what I felt was best. Over the next few weeks, Emily sent me a list of rules for the wedding weekend. What to wear when to arrive, no bringing any friends or plus ones except my husband, and that we were expected to attend all the events, including some very early morning get-ready sessions that she said were mandatory. The final straw was when Emily told me she was capping the number of guests for my side of the family. Our parents got one invite each, I got one for me and my husband, and that was it. She wouldn't allow my cousins or my husband's family to attend. She said it would ruin the vibe, and that she wanted to keep things focused. I tried to talk to her about it, explaining that weddings are family celebrations, and excluding people feels hurtful, but she just doubled down and said it was her day, and everyone else needs to respect that. At this point, I felt completely alienated and hurt. I talked with my parents, who admitted they were also upset but didn't want to cause a rift. My husband and I talked extensively, and I realized that attending this wedding would be painful and stressful for me. I told Emily I wouldn't be attending the wedding if these conditions didn't change. She reacted badly, accusing me of being selfish, ruining her special day, and choosing sides against her. She even told our parents that I was the problem in the family and that I was being unreasonable. Our parents are stuck in the middle, trying to mediate, but the tension is palpable. I ended up refusing to attend the wedding unless Emily changed her stance on the guest list and how she treated my husband and family. Emily said she would rather have no sister at her wedding than change her plans. This led to an intense family argument over the holidays, with most of the family taking sides or staying out of it entirely. I still love my sister and wish things could be different, but I'm struggling with whether I'm being unreasonable. Emily's wedding is supposed to be about her happiness, but it feels like it's come at the expense of family harmony and respect. I don't want to be in an environment where I'm made to feel unwelcome or where my husband is treated poorly. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her demanding guest list and how she's been treating my family. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to let my sister's boyfriend stay at our house after he caused a huge fight during my wedding weekend. So, here's the background. I, 32F, recently got married. My fiancé, now husband, is named Mark, 34M. We have been planning our wedding for over a year. It was a medium-sized affair with close friends and family. Nothing too extravagant, but very meaningful to us. My younger sister, Emma, 28F, was my maid of honor. She and I have always had a complicated relationship. We love each other, but there's a fair amount of jealousy and occasional drama, mostly stemming from how our parents treated us growing up and some unresolved childhood stuff. But we were working on it, and things seemed to be going well leading up to the wedding. Emma has been dating this guy, Jake, 29M, for about 8 months. I had met him a handful of times before the wedding, and while he seemed nice enough, I didn't feel like he really fit with our family or social circle. He was kind of brash, loud, and at times seemed disrespectful in subtle ways. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt because, well, it's my sister's boyfriend. I didn't want to cause tension, but I wasn't particularly fond of him either. The problem started about 2 weeks before the wedding when Emma asked if Jake could stay at our house the night before the rehearsal dinner. Our house is the venue for the rehearsal dinner, so it's where we'd be hosting a lot of people. I was hesitant because the house was already packed with friends and family flying in from out of town, and my husband and I were stressed trying to get everything ready. I suggested Emma find a nearby hotel for Jake instead, but she insisted it would be easier for him to stay with us and help out with last-minute things. I reluctantly agreed because I didn't want to be the bad sister, but I made it clear that Jake had to be respectful and keep things low-key. Emma promised that he'd be on his best behavior. The night before the rehearsal dinner, Jake arrived. At first, he was quiet and seemed okay. But later, after a few drinks, he started getting loud and aggressive. One of my husband's friends tried to chat with him, and Jake rudely dismissed him. He also barged into areas of the house where guests were getting ready, which wasn't cool. Then, the worst part, he tried to start an argument with my mom over some trivial comment, and it escalated quickly. I had to intervene and ask him to calm down. It was very stressful and honestly embarrassing. I was worried about how it would affect the wedding the next day. I asked Emma to talk to Jake and get him to tone it down, but instead, she defended him and said I was being unfair. The next day, during the rehearsal dinner, Jake continued to be obnoxious. He made several inappropriate jokes and interrupted important moments, including the speeches. My husband and I were trying hard to stay composed, but it was hard. Several guests noticed, and some even commented to me later that it was awkward. After the rehearsal dinner, Jake got drunk again and ended up breaking a vase that was a family heirloom. Emma apologized profusely, but said accidents happen and it wasn't a big deal. I was furious because that vase had sentimental value and couldn't be replaced. I told Emma that Jake couldn't stay at the house for the wedding weekend anymore. She got very defensive and said I was being unreasonable. The day of the wedding, Jake didn't come to the venue at all. Emma stayed with our parents instead. A few days after the wedding, Emma called me crying and said she felt betrayed and that I was deliberately trying to ruin her relationship and embarrass her. She said that Jake felt unwelcome and that I should have given him a chance. I don't think I overreacted. Jake was disrespectful, caused a scene, broke something valuable, and ignored repeated requests to behave. My husband and I worked hard to create a beautiful and respectful environment for our wedding, and I think it was fair to not want someone like Jake there disrupting it. But Emma thinks I went too far, and that family should be supportive no matter what. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to let my sister's boyfriend stay at our house during our wedding weekend after he caused all that drama. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of how she treated my mental health struggles. This whole situation has been boiling for months, and I just need to know if I'm the asshole here or if I'm justified in how I'm handling things. I, 28F, have always struggled with anxiety and depression since my early teens. It's something my family knows about, but it's been a sensitive topic, especially with my sister, Emily, 30F. For years, I've sought therapy, taken medication, and done everything I could to manage my mental health. Unfortunately, Emily has never been very understanding. She brushes off my struggles, calls me too sensitive, or tells me to just get over it. It's painful, but I always try to overlook her attitude because, well, she's my sister. About 6 months ago, Emily got engaged to her fiancé, Mark. From the moment she announced it, she started planning a huge, extravagant wedding, very different from the small, intimate affairs my family usually does. She told me she wanted everyone there and that it would be a great chance for us all to come together. I was excited too, because despite her attitude, I wanted to support her on this big day. Things got rocky pretty quickly. Emily started asking me for favors that I simply couldn't handle emotionally. For example, she wanted me to be one of her bridesmaids, which meant a lot of responsibility and social pressure. I told her that my anxiety makes big social situations very hard for me, and being in a wedding party would be overwhelming. She didn't take this well. She said, "If you really cared about me, you'd put that aside just this once." I told her I wasn't trying to hurt her, but that I needed to prioritize my mental health. That's when she started making snide comments about how my anxiety was all in my head and that I was using it as an excuse to be lazy. I was crushed. I reminded her that my mental health is something I take very seriously and that I've been working hard to manage it. But she kept insisting I was just making things harder for her and that I was being selfish. Fast forward to now, and Emily's wedding is in 2 weeks. She sent out the invitations months ago, and I accepted because I didn't want to cause drama. But in the past few weeks, she's been treating me even worse. She made a big group chat for family and bridesmaids and excluded me entirely. When I asked why, she said, "You're just going to freak out and ruin the mood." She even told my parents that I'm unstable and not ready to be around people. I confronted her about this, and she doubled down, saying she doesn't want me to make a scene on her special day. I told her I wouldn't cause any scene, but that I wouldn't attend if she was going to treat me like that. My parents are split. They say Emily has a right to protect her wedding day, but they also don't think it's fair how she's pushing me away. Some friends told me I should go to support her regardless of how she's acting, but I don't want to be humiliated or stressed out to the point of breakdown. The thing is, I'm seriously considering not going. I feel hurt and excluded, and it's hard to imagine celebrating with someone who's openly dismissive of my mental health. Emily keeps accusing me of being selfish and making everything about me, but I genuinely think she's not considering how her words and actions affect me. So, Reddit, am I the asshole for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of how she's treated my mental health? Or is she the one being unfair? I want to support her, but I also want to protect myself. What would you do in my position?